and they were interested in other people doing well, and they helped them to do well. They stuck together a lot more. Plus, now that black people are making so much headway and that they're making lots of gains and all of that, it seems to me that it's leaving a lot of them behind, and those people who have made it are not looking out for them, you know.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. It's kind of, an analogy is, I used to be, in the back of my mind, critical of the black people who came from nothing and got to a point to where they're making a halfway decent living and doing fairly well, and what the first thing they do would be to move out of the black community and out where the white folks were, you know, and get away from all of that. And I got away from that because I said, you know, I don't know if I'm being fair, because the reason why you try to bring yourself up and progress is to get away from the things that were negative to you when you were younger. And you know, if that's what's gonna help them to be more happy and get away from some of the negative things and all of that, why not? That's why you work for this, to do that, you know. And so I'm saying that maybe that's what's happening now as black people become more successful and come higher up on the ladder. They're forgetting and they're enjoying that. They're taking advantage of that, and you can understand why they don't. They're forgetting about some of those that are back there. You know, it's just unfortunate. That's why I say. That's one of the negatives. But most of all, I have to say that everything has been pretty positive. And I hope we get past that I'm talking about. I hope there are enough of us who look back and say, well, look, we've got to give something back. We've got to look out for those who were not as fortunate and all of that. I've tried all my life to try to do that as much as I can. I grew up with nothing. We had nothing. And I happened to be ambitious enough to try to do something about that. I grew up with kids that were probably more on the ball, probably had more ability and more potential than I did. But somehow or another, there was something that I had that they didn't have. But I'm just fortunate or just blessed, whatever, you know, that I didn't accept that. And some of those kids that had more on the ball than I did are still standing back there on the corner where I grew up. And they've never done a thing about it, you know. Well, maybe I'm just lucky. Maybe I just happen to be one of those people to, and I've tried to keep that in mind. Now, like, I live here on Lindell, you know, but I live in the city. One of the things that I thought about when I started making a little bit of progress, and particularly when I opened up those stores over there, I thought, now wait a minute, I'm making my living off of black people here in the city. How does it look for me to leave them? They need me here in the city to vote for the things that need to be voted for the city, and be interested in the things that are important to the city and all that. I need to stay in here. So, as I told you, when we first started looking for a house, a better house, it was all in the city. We were going to build a house in the city like your folks did. And then when we decided to, maybe we'll buy something, we looked in the city and ended up buying something in the city. We didn't move out there in the county where everybody's moving now. Everybody else was moving out there, but we stayed in here. Now, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I'm just telling you that I did that because I felt an obligation to do that. What I'm hoping is that there are enough of us who start to do some of those kinds of things, and there are a lot of ways you can do that. You don't really have to always be personally involved or to personally sacrifice yourself to do that. There are other ways that it can be done. You know, we were talking about some entertainers the other day, you know, who have done a very a fantastic job of giving back. They happen to be people who are able to make big bucks, and they've taken some significant dollars, some real significant amount of their money, and given it back, which I think is great. That's a way you can do it. So anyhow, as far as the change from when I started and up until now, I think most of it has been good.
Okay. Who would you say has been the most influential person in your life? And remember, we're on tape.
The most influential. Now it's kind of hard to, if you're talking about morally or intellectually or financially or what?
All around, who has influenced you the most?
That's I would have to say, as far as my success business-wise, that sister that told them that I was the person to be the chief pharmacist. I learned more from that lady than anybody I've ever learned from in my life. I just told you that one thing, but she taught me a lot of stuff.
What was her name?
Sister Mary Ann. She's dead now. She was a rough cookie boy. Oh, everybody they were afraid of that lady. She was something. And I used to stand up to her. Give you an example. She had a drawer in one of the counters at the pharmacy that had a whole lot of junk in it. And everybody wondered, why does she keep all that? We needed space to put things, but she kept that crap in there, And I used to ask the pharmacist, why don't you ask her? Can't we get rid of some of this stuff so we can do it? Oh, you kidding? Who's going to ask Sisters Mary Ann that? I said, shoot, I'll ask her. And she had a box of old hypodermic needles in there. Old hypodermic needles that you couldn't use anymore. So they said, look, you better not do it. You better let. I said, look, I'm going to find out about these needles. I took the box of needles out. I went in her office. I said, sister, why do you keep these needles? Why do we have to keep these needles? We ought to be able to get rid of these and we could use the space. She looked at me and says, you're supposed to be so smart. You ought to be able to figure it out yourself. Why I'm keeping those needles. And I thought, oh me, she's told me something. I had no idea what she told me, but she told me something. And I got to thinking, and I thought, why in the world would she keep these needles that are no good for anything anymore? I said, there must be some kind of value to them. And I thought, oh, what are they made out of? Maybe they are valuable. Long story short, I found out those needles were platinum. Spinal needles made out of platinum. And I went in and I said, sister, are these needles valuable metal? She said, I told you if you're so smart, you ought to be able to figure it out for yourself. And so I went to the books to figure out how to test for precious metals. And I found out these acids that you use and all that, and I checked them, and sure enough, boy. I said, sister, I found out. I said, these things are platinum, aren't they? She says, yeah, now see how much money you can get for them. I said, what? She says, yeah, they're yours. You can have them. I took those needles to the dental supply house and sold them. Man, I came home with a pocket full of money. And I told these guys, boy, they were so mad. They got so mad about that, She gave them to me. I said, well, I told you guys to go find out about it. But that just did her heart good. She just loved that. And I would do things like that. And she told me, well, that's not the only thing that's valuable around. There's all kinds of things. I said, well, sister, why don't you tell me about it? Well, she decided she's going to start helping me then, after I did this. She said, you notice how I take that x-ray film up there and wash all that black stuff off of it? And she used to use, when you wash all the black off, it's clear plastic, and she used to use that for covers on different things. And I said, yeah, I've seen you do that. Hey, what do you think that black stuff is that I'm washing off of there? I said, I don't know. She said, well, it's about time you found out about it then. Long story short, I found out that's silver. That's pure silver she's wiping off of it. Come out of the day. And they're throwing film away. Throwing it away. So I make a deal to start taking the old film and selling it. And she said, that ain't all. They're washing silver down the drains every day. Come to find out that when they developed the film, the solution in there is full of silver, and they was running that stuff down the drains, and every few months they have to replace all the drains and throw them out. They're completely coated with solid silver, but it looked like old black gunk, and they're throwing them in the trash.
How did she know all this?
Just a smart lady. I'm telling you, I learned a lot from her. And then she says, there's gold around here too. I said, what do you mean? She says, do I have to tell you everything? Can't you figure it out for yourself? I got to thinking. Long story short, they got a real active dental clinic going upstairs. Every day they're pulling gold teeth out of people's mouth every day and throwing them in the trash. And I had the janitor every day to call me when he's going to clean. I went up to the dental clinic every day for months and picked out gold teeth out of that.
And sold them.
I sold gold, man. I sold gold, and all these things that I'm telling you, I did those things over the years, even after I left the hospital. I had signs up at the store that says, we buy old gold, and we buy all kinds of stuff, and people would call, and I'd go to their house and get them old gold and stuff. I got some old gold teeth in the basement right now.
Haven't sold them yet, huh?
Right, and anyhow, she taught me all of that stuff. When I left St. Louis U hospitals, and I went out there to these people, they gave me, they almost doubled my salary when I went out there. But I told them what I was shooting for. And they said, well, you got to prove yourself and all that. First thing I did was I wrote a procedure for salvaging old silver out of the developing equipment and x-ray departments in our hospitals. And when I gave that to them, the hospitals saved millions of dollars. And that was one of my first things to impress them with. The next thing I did was I signed a contract with the baby formula people to get baby formula for all of our hospitals free of charge. The year before that, they'd spent something like $250,000, and now they were going to get it for nothing for the rest of their lives, So that was the other thing. All those are things that she taught me how that, and because she told me, for instance, there are lots of things that we're buying we don't need to buy. We can make them give it to us, and that was one of them. So I showed them how to do that, and then negotiated the contract for them to get it. That's what I meant when I say that lady taught me more than anybody that I've ever met. And like I said, the first thing she does is let me store that stuff there. You see, I got my first apartment.
You were on your way.
Yeah. But, I've been influenced by people In the service, there were instructors in there that I met that influenced me, and I learned things from them. I tried to learn from anybody that I came from. Your daddy was I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from him. He was just a smart man, and he knew a lot of things. You know, a lot of things that he didn't actually teach me about it, but he'd tell me about it and lead me to some place to where I could do something good out of it. You know, that kind of thing.
So a lot of people then.
Yeah.
All right. What would you say was the happiest day of your life?
Hmm. Ooh, I have to think about that. I can tell you one of the happiest days of my life was just happened. That 70th birthday party. That, no question about it, that's got a rate way up there at the top.
Why would you say that?
I had friends here, and more important, I had family here. Not that I just had them here, but that's the first time that they had taken the time to say something to me and about me and tell me their impressions of me. And I don't mind telling you, that really got to me. That really made me feel good. Yeah, that's got to be way up at the top. Yeah.
There's probably been so many of them, it's hard to rank them, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've had a lot of, I've had, all the way through my life, I've had a lot of happy times, I've really enjoyed my family. Lottie and I have had some really great times with each other. And even when I was young and had nothing, I was not down and out. You know, I always tried to live a happy life, you know, and still hope I always do, you know. I try to look at the good side of everything. Yeah, I've had a lot of good, happy days.
The other side of that question, what would you say is the saddest day of your life?
The saddest day. I don't know. And on the other hand, I guess I do know. It's probably not something that I can talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say is the proudest, what are you proudest of that you've achieved in your life?
Having having come from where I came from to where I am right now, and that includes getting married to a woman who fit. You know, I had a picture or a criteria for the person that I wanted to marry. For finding somebody that fit that criteria, for having 5 kids, always did like kids, and having kids that I was really and continue to be proud of, and for pursuing all the things that I pursued that were good in life. I did a lot of things through my life that I'm proud of. You know, that I did little things here and there that you know, I don't like to pat myself on the back. It's just that I just think I've been able to live a good life and enjoy it, and help others to enjoy it.
If there were one thing about your life that you could change, what would it be?
That's hard to say. That's hard to say. If one of the, well, those people that that I have not pleased in any time throughout my life, I wish I would have known what it was and avoided that. A number of things that have happened through the years where I have found out that I did not please someone for one reason or other. I don't even know why. I don't know what, you know, I don't know what caused it all, and I wish I knew what that was, and I could take care of that. In general, I'm very satisfied with my life, and I don't know of a lot that I would change. You know, that I could change. I mean, you know, let's face it, I'd like to be 16 again and start all over. But I don't know that I would change too much. No.
What things do you have remaining that you want to achieve, if anything? Is there anything that you want to achieve in the rest of your life?
Well, not really. I'd like to see my grandchildren grown and being successful, and I'd like to be able to help them with that as much as I possibly could. Other than that, I don't know. I'm not really. There's not really a lot that I'm looking to achieve, other than my own salvation. You know, I hope I come out with a good score with the good Lord. But other than that, no, I'm not. I don't have any ambition to achieve anything else.
All right, we're almost done here. One of the questions I was going to ask you is whether you have some type of life philosophy that you've developed from living for 70 years. You know what? That's kind of a broad question, but like,
Yeah,
what you would tell people.
I get an idea of what you're talking about, though. Well, I've always been a pretty optimistic person, and I just got through telling you I usually look on the bright side of everything, and I've always been a pretty religious person, and I just think that gets you through anything, and I've relied on that, and it works. You know, I can tell you stories about what I consider to be miracles that have happened, and I rely on that whenever things get tough, and I say just keep on keeping on, and it's going to work itself out. And like I said, I don't let myself get down. I try to be upbeat about just about everything in life, and I think that's helped. I don't ever remember being really down. There have been times when I've been worried about things a little bit, but I always felt that, oh, it was, like, just hang in there. It'll work itself out sooner or later. So I guess what I'm saying is, mainly is I've learned that you have to be upbeat about things and be persistent and don't give up, you know. As long as you have confidence in yourself and the fact that you can gain from other people and rely on the good Lord.
And my final question, which is very similar to the last one, is this. Assuming somebody watches this tape 20 years from now or 50 years from now or 100 years from now, what kind of message would you want to give them about yourself?
I don't know. There's one thing that I guess I could say. I can't think of anything that I've ever done that I would truly be embarrassed about. Now, let's face it, I'm not an angel, and there are things that have come up that I shouldn't have done and probably wouldn't do if I had thought about it, you know. But I've tried to be an honest person, a person that's upfront. I've always tried to be a person who cared about other people, and most of the time tried to put other people ahead of myself. And that always comes, I just feel like that's an investment. It always comes back to you. I try to share. I'd like for people to remember me as a person that shared everything that he has. I'm not a proud person. I don't try to outdo anybody, and anything that I do, I hope that there are other people do just as well, and come out of it just as good as I do. I try to tithe my income. Every dollar that I earn, no matter where it comes from, I try to give 10 cents of that away, and I've been doing that as far back as I can remember, and I can't get ahead with that. It always comes back. I don't know. I guess just being honest and concerned about the rest of the world is the thing that I would want people to remember me for. And I guess that's what you asked me, what they want. Okay. And a strong faith. So that's pretty much it.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I'd really like to see what we've got on here, you know. I'm sure I missed something.
And we can always edit it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it.
Okay.